Good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
Good morning, Rabbi.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We are learning Mishnah Shabbos, Perek Yud Gimel, chapter 13, Mishnah Dalit, Mishnah 4. I'd like to dedicate this morning's learning. Memory of my mother, Mrs. Shlomis Rabinowitz, Shlomis Master Rabbi Yaakov Eliezer. I'm learning Shabbat Aliyah for her neshama.
Amen.
Okay, Mishnah Dalit. Shear the amount for Hamalabein, one who washes, Vamenapates, or one who disentangles, Vatseveya, or one who dyes, V'hatayver, or one who spins. Kermloi reichev hasit kafel is the amount of double the full width of a sit. Now, let's go step by step here. Previously, we had, in Perek Zion, Mishnah Aleph, chapter 7, Mishnah 1, a list of all the 39 Avatz Malachas, the 39 primary forms of to work on Shabbos. So we had a couple of them that we just mentioned here, which is starting with Hamalabnai. And I just want to read to you how they translated each one of the malachas. Washing. Malabnai means washing. That is cleaning wool or any similar substance, any kind of garment, any kind of cloth in water. Okay, you wash a garment in water, that's malabnai. The next one is menaptzai, disentangling. The jumbled fibers of wool are combed or beaten with a stick to disentangle them and prepare them for spinning. Right, something that makes the most sense by wool. That is the next malacha. And then we have hatzayvai, dyeing. After the fibers of wool are washed and combed, but before they are spun into thread, they are colored through being soaked in dye. That's tzayvai. And then we have v'hatayve, which they translate as spinning thread. That is twisting fibers together to make threads. These are the four malachas that are mentioned here. And as we've been doing in previous Mishnayos, the Mishnayos are teaching us what is the minimum amount that you have to do to be liable from the Torah for doing a malacha on Shabbos. And the answer is kemaloi reichev hasit kafel, the length the length of a double sit. Now, I didn't see how anybody translates a sit into present day contemporary measurements, but a sit is you stretch these two fingers, okay, and the width from the top of one to the other. That's a sit. And when we say here, Kamaloi Rachav Asit Kafel, we say double the amount of that. Okay, which the Mefarshim say double this is the same thing as one of this. Meaning going from the top of the pointer to the thumb. Okay, that's the sit. And we're saying that you're not liable for doing any of these malachas unless the amount of wool involved is at least enough to produce a thread whose length is twice a sit. Okay? And only a thread as long. Now, what's the point of this measurement called a sit? So they explain here on the bottom, only a thread at least as long as a double sit is useful in sewing. Thus, when preparing wool or other material to make threads for sewing, there must be enough of it to produce a thread of this length. So therefore, if you're washing wool, if you are disentangling the wool, dyeing the wool, spinning the wool, it has to be enough to make a thread this length of a double sit. Next, v'ha'oirek shnei chutin, one who weaves two threads. Shi'uro kamaloi hasit, its amount is just the length of one sit. Now, if you remember, when we spoke about the malach of oireg of weaving, we said that the malach of weaving, which we said is shnei chutin, two threads, doesn't mean two threads, but it means two passings. Meaning when you pick up the odd warp thread, the odd warp threads, right, and you leave down the even warp threads, you throw through the weft, right? You throw the weft thread, right? Then you lower it and you bring the odd ones, the even ones up and the odd ones down. You throw it through again, going through twice. That's called two threads. So we said before, what's the minimum that you have to do to be considered the malacha of oireg? It has to be you're going, basically once you're going through both, right? In and out. Okay, that's what you're doing. Now the Mishnah is going to tell us like this. Now, how much of the garment do you have to do this in? Meaning you may have these warp threads that are however long they may be. Okay. Now, how much though does this this going in and out, how much of the warp threads does it have to go through? The answer is it has to go through the length of a sit.
Oh, not all.
Doesn't have to go all the way. And it's going to go this way, it's going to go that way. But how much of it is going to cover? How much of it of the threads is going to cover? The length of a sit. That much, which is a very small amount. That much of the warp threads is what this web thread that goes in and out. That's how much it's going to. That's how much it has to cover. More than that, it doesn't have to do. But that's at least that amount. That amount. Have a wonderful day. Gemara Tov, Piska Tava. Have a wonderful Yantif, and all the best. A good tiara.
This is a little bit different.
Okay, just a point of